Ready to go, Billy. You like doing that, don't you? The awkwardness. No, we need to get a digital counter up there. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then a little flash on air.
Let's get one of them really old shit. Action.
That's just there for films, not for
This is
radio show / podcast.
Lambo film.
Are we recording? Okay, I'm going to start this off professionally for once.
First time for everything.
Welcome to the Mental Hamster Show, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I'm Aarron Lambo, and I'm joined here today by Dean Lesiak.
Lesiak. Not lazy ass. Not Lesiak. Lesiak. Can you just get it once in your life? Get it right. You've known you like 10 fucking years. Say it. Say it!
We were actually about to talk about roid rage and how it doesn't exist, and this isn't a really good fucking advert, is it? I'm joined here today by Dean Lesiak. Is that better?
That's better.
Okay. We're going to talk about the way the industry has gone, what drawn me to bodybuilding itself in the 90s, and steroid use. Now, a lot of people are starting to come out in the open and try and talk about steroids, or talk about what they think they know about steroids, which is actually jack shit. Who's that fucking idiot in America? The one free CC, what's his fucking name? Boston Lloyd. People like him that are giving the wrong advice. I mean, I've seen clips of some of his videos. I've never actually given him the time of day to watch a full one, probably like yourself, because anybody that's that fucking retarded that thinks that gear is the answer, and you can become a pro by upping your CC or mil of fucking gear is just an idiot. I mean, he's even one thing I've never understood in a country where steroids is illegal. It's a federal offence, not like England where it's not really illegal. He's driving around with fucking 3cc on the side of his fucking truck. He's actually named his business that. He's got his flat caps on, the lot. Well, we're going to talk to you about the gear usage that we've used, the gear usage that we currently use, the most gear that we've ever taken, why we took it, the mistakes that we did, and our first ever jabs. Now, I don't know. Let's just go straight in with the gear. I don't know about you and your very first ever jab, but I remember I took D-bol for the first time, and I must have been about 17, 18, and it was you remember the 5 milligram ones?
Yeah.
Right, it was a 5 milligram one, and I remember it took me about 20 minutes to take one, and after I took one, it was actually in Calvin's flat.
You felt massive.
No, I panicked. I went into a panic attack thinking I was going to have a heart attack, listening to all the rumours that it was going to expand your heart and make it massive.
Did you wake up the next day a stone heavier?
Yeah, then I went to college, because I was at college then, just proper lat syndrome, fucking, you could have just, I didn't even wear a t-shirt, I just painted myself the next day, just all strutting around. But that was my very first time actually using steroids, and so I always started off with orals, one oral, just the D-bol, not even a mixture of oil, just the D-bol. And I remember it was the 5 milligram ones. I took no more than 3 a day. You're talking for the first 6 months to a year, and then I upped it to like 5. And it was only, but when I was about 18 and a half maybe, that I took an injection for the first time. And I remember I was round my friend's flat. He was obviously inexperienced. Obviously, I fucking hate that when people say obviously. It's fucking ain't obvious, is it? Because you're telling me a fucking story. If it was fucking obvious, I'd know the fucking story, wouldn't I?
He's had too many D-bol today. The roid rage.
The rage. He was a lot older than me, an experienced bodybuilder, and I was scared of fucking needles. Always have been. And he said, I'll give you your first jab. And I remember going into the toilet and just, when you're breathing heavily.
You do that all the time. You can't even hear me talking because you're on the microphone.
Seriously? I'm ill at the minute.
You're D-bol and you're fat.
Then I went into his living room and I pulled my trousers down. I'm holding onto his chair, right? He's about to give me a jab in the arse. And I remember saying, just tell me when you're going to do it. Okay, I'm going to do it. Right, just wait. Just give me a minute. Right, okay, I'll be back in a minute. I'll go out of the room, come back. It took me about 45 minutes to have my first jab. And then after, it must have took me, no lie, 2 years, 3 years before I even managed to have the courage to do a jab myself.
So what you're saying is the first time you was bent over with your trousers down.
Yes.
And some guy put a little prick in your ass.
In a man's flat that was a lot older than me.
And he put a little prick in your ass.
Yeah, he put a little prick in my ass.
Put you off for about a year, but then you decided to go back and take some more.
But it was about 2 years, 2.5 years before I started doing jabs myself. And even then, when I did first start doing jabs myself, I remember doing it in a gym that I was training at, and the owner said, just go into the toilets and fucking do it.
In the toilets,
so I went in the toilets, and I took that long. The owner actually walked into the toilet to see if I passed out or if I was okay. Because I remember being like, I don't know whether you were the same, but I was like, 1, 2,
or was you
1,
waiting
2, 3,
for him
fuck.
in the toilet?
Yeah, I just used to hang around for bodybuilders in the toilets. I used to, because we used to have a little hole cut out in the cubicle, and that was me. I'd wait out and then just, because bodybuilders have to get rid of testosterone, don't they? So a random cock would just come through, and then I'd suck it off, because that was the old school way to get testosterone into your body. Suck off an older bodybuilder. It's just pure testosterone going straight into the system. You laugh, mate, you take the piss all you want, but that's how I've got big arms.
I was taught
suck off bodybuilders.
I just want to say I didn't start my first shots by taking natural testosterone.
Can I just clarify? So you're telling me you've never sucked off a bodybuilder when you were younger and you just got into the game?
I don't want to be the one to tell you this, Aarron, but it's not normal.
Did you do it or not?
You had the wrong advice.
Did you do it or not?
No, I did not.
Yeah, me neither.
Anyway, that's Aarron's fetishes and
what was your experience in the first?
What I'd first like to know is what made you decide that you wanted to start steroids at how long did you say you was?
I started training when I was 14, 15. And when I started getting a physique, 15, 16 years old, I was a glass collector at a nightclub, and I started training with a doorman and that. And I just had this fascination of competing. 16, 17, I just thought, I was in Peterborough, it's closed down now, old school gym called Ultra Bodies. And I just thought, there ain't anybody my age that I know of in this town that's got a physique. So there must be a junior competition. And the owner said, yeah, there is a junior competition. And I just wanted to compete. I wanted to be this freak. I got inspired when we'll go on to that subject in a minute, by the freakiness of the Flex magazines, just what other people would call fucking ugly. That was my dream to look like.
The first person that you've seen and looked up to and thought, I want to be like that.
Paul Dillett.
Did it.
I remember, and I still remember it to this day. My brother-in-law gave me his 1990s magazines, his old Flex magazines. Yeah. There was Lee Priest, just with Superman, right? Yeah. Biggest biceps I've ever seen. There was Samir Bannout, looking cool as fuck with the best moustache I've ever seen in my life, right? Riding the back of a horse, topless. And then there was Paul Dillett, and you might remember this picture, the dungarees, right? With the biggest traps I have ever seen in my life.
Big worm range across
it was freakiness. I was just like, I want him.
I was the same. I'm like, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
And now we're looking back at it. So, Lee in Superman pants. Samir with a 80s porn star tash.
Yeah.
And Paul Dillett in these.
Which he's still rocking that moustache at the minute. Yeah. And he's the only one in the world that can do that.
It was really cool then.
Yeah.
It's fucking super gay right now.
It is super gay. But that was what inspired me. I wanted to be the freak. And I had this conversation with the gym owner at the time. And he said, if you want to compete, he said, I suggest you've got your physique to a good standard, you get it to even better, and then you take gear, but you do it slowly, take your time, and that's what he did do. But when I look back on it now, I believe that if you're under the age of 21, you don't need gear. I think I started it a little bit too early because our natural testosterone is still in their body. So if I was going to give advice to somebody coming up in the game, I'd wait until 21 or after. But I took it because I believed, and I was right, that there was other people on stage that was taking gear. And if you've got to compete against them, unfortunately, that's the route you need to fucking take. And that was the reason why I did it. But I was lucky enough at that time to have sensible people around me that even though I did it a little bit too young, they didn't just sell me stuff just to line their own pocket. They actually, mate, you're going to get... if you're just starting out in the game and you just want a few D-ball, really, you're going to get an old school bodybuilder that's just going to give you some of his. Do you know what I mean? And not actually, you're not going to be paying for it. Yeah. But that was the reason why I did it.
Any young lads thinking about taking the first course, what would your advice be to them?
After what I've just said, they've got their physique as far as they're going to go. They've decided that's the route they're going to go down. Then I would suggest always start with orals. And when I say orals, I would pick one to see how your body reacts to that. If you start thinking, right, I'm going to take D-bol, then I'm going to take test, then I'm going to take DECA, you're injecting a foreign substance into your body off the say-so of somebody else who isn't a doctor and who isn't qualified. When you look at it like that, how stupid that is. And we've all done it.
Where would you get the stuff
from?
But
off of somebody who's not a doctor, who's not a qualified. So if you think you're about to inject a foreign substance into your body, you don't know where it's made, you don't know the cleanliness of it, you don't know the standards of it, you don't know whether the rules or what it is. Some people don't even get it off a person, they get it off the internet, which is even fucking worse. But let's just say we get it off of somebody who's not qualified, which we've all done it. How stupid that sounds. So if you are a beginner, you don't know what you're allergic to, what you're not, what you're going to have a reaction to, what you're not. And if you're taking 2 or 3 things, you don't know what's working and what's not. So what I suggest, you might have a different opinion, but you stick with one oral and you gauge yourself. Take small amounts and you start seeing different changes. Then you think, okay, I like that, or that didn't particularly work for me. I'd like to try this, or I'd like to try that. And then you do it. It's hit and miss, isn't it? You've got to use yourself as a guinea pig, but sensibly.
Yeah. I mean, I had a 15, 16-year-old lad ask me not long ago, I want to start...
You're Polish, aren't you?
No, I'm German, Polish, English.
So you got German and Polish in you?
Fucked up mongrel, yeah.
Well, let's be honest, Germans and Polish people have been on fucking growth since the day they were born. They're all massive. So you were just born on fucking growth.
Of the day.
Yeah, that's not racist. That's just a compliment. I wish I had German and fucking Polish in me. Have you ever seen a skinny Polish guy? Never. They're all just fucking massive.
Potatoes and shit, don't they? I don't know. What do Polish eat?
I don't know. Babies?
Pork and, yeah, maybe.
They look like it.
And the Russians.
Russians. It's why people. It's why people don't fuck with them. They're just fucking massive, aren't they?
Hard stuff.
Anyway, going back onto it.
This 15, 16-year-old young lad, he asked me my advice. He said, "I'm going to start some gear. I'm thinking about doing a cycle. What cycle do you think I should do?" I sent him a picture of a fucking push bike and said, the only cycling you should be doing is on a fucking push bike at your age. I didn't see it serious. That was my answer to him. What are you doing? You're 15, 16 years old. Your testosterone's just coming in. Do you know what I mean? You've got 4 or 5 years of extremely high testosterone. Get your ass in the gym, lift heavy compound movements, and look into your nutrition, what you're putting into your body, before you even think about looking at a steroid.
I had a 17-year-old lad come into the gym once. I went to visit that old school gym before it closed down. And a lad come up, he went, "Aarron, can I just ask you a question?" And he couldn't have been older than 17. I went, "Yeah, what's up, bud?" He went, "I've got some steroids and I'm trying to inject it. I just want to know the best place to do it." And I'm like, "Mate, you don't need it. You're too young." And this is what he said to me. He went, "Well, I just don't know which vein to put it in. I mean, I've got a fucking belt and I've got it round my arm. And I don't know." And I was like, "Wow,
did you
stop.
buy this off a heroin?"
Yeah, this is clearly not for you, this game. It doesn't go in a vein, mate. It goes in a muscle." It's like, oh, fuck. It's like, wow, man. Especially if you're somebody that does sell gear as a little sideline, or you've been in the game for ages, if you are going to sell steroids, you've got a responsibility as well. You don't just fucking sell it, you show them. Be responsible, because if you're going to help this person, stay healthy, the likelihood is he's going to continue buying off you in the future, because he's going to get good gains and, he's going to get the right gains. But don't fucking... Oh man, don't just sell them any old shit with the wrong advice, because it's only going to go wrong.
There's so many people out there just to make money, or they're selfish. They don't give a fuck about the person. No, they just want to push stuff on them. Whereas, like, I do not promote taking steroids in any way. It's a personal choice. If you want to go down that road, then you need to get educated. You need to know what you're doing. So this day and age, we've got the fucking internet. You can get any information that you need. Get around people that you trust and that can teach you properly. And I say this to people all the time: why the fuck would you put something in your body that you don't even know what it does, let alone what it is? Like you were saying earlier, you're putting a foreign body into your body. You don't even know what you're putting inside yourself. You bought it off the internet. Fuck knows who from. It could be some fucking terrorist who gives a shit. Do you know what I mean? You're buying some bullshit. You're pulling it into your body. You don't even know what the steroid is called.
No.
Do your fucking research. Get some books. Get amongst people that have been there and done it.
It comes down to logic. It's being logical. The same thing, think about it. I wouldn't, goes down to dieting. I use him as an example. Day in, day out, that fat fucking cunt, Nathan Harmon. And for those of you that don't know, Nathan Harmon is fucking Google him. He's literally, and I'm not even joking, I'm not exaggerating, never done a day's gym in his fucking life. And he calls himself a pro maker and gives advice on gear, gives advice on fucking insulin.
Wasn't he a cyclist?
He was a cyclist, yeah.
He has a sports background.
But not in bodybuilding. And he makes himself out to be this fucking guru. The guy is an absolute twat. He doesn't know anything. But why would you pay somebody to teach you how to bodybuild that's never done bodybuilding? So think about it logically with steroids. Why would you buy steroids off of a skinny guy? You wouldn't. So when you people say, all right, Aarron, what's the best gear to take, or what's the best place to get it? Go to your old school gym. Your gym owner that's been there for fucking years. He's probably knows more than some of these fucking social media gurus, and probably it knows more than me. It's likely that he's been there, he's done it. Have a conversation with him. And you want to buy steroids off of somebody where it's not their main business. They've probably got a 9-to-5 job and they do that as a sideline and don't rely on that money, which means theoretically he's not going to sell you just whatever he's got left over. You've got to be logical. Would you trust Jimmy Savile to look after your kids? No. It's going to be a fucking car crash. We all know what the end result's going to be. So don't buy steroids off of a skinny guy. Why would you do that? You want to start to get to know the guy with the best physique in the gym. Get to know him. Train with him. Learn how to push yourself to failure. Only then will you get into the conversation of what to get, how to get it. And if he can't help you, he might point you in a direction where you can. It's not just something that you can just go into a supermarket and pick this, this, and this. It takes time. And if you want to do it the right way, that's probably the best way I would suggest.
I get this all the time. I say this, any area in your life, if you want to be good at something, it's just logic in it. You look up to people who's done it, who's been there, who's consistently doing it, and is the top of their game. Yep. So whatever it is you want to be, the best businessman, the best fucking bodybuilder, whatever, go to people that have been there, done it, and consistently winning and getting the good results. Yeah. They obviously know what they're doing. When someone's successful, it's not fucking luck. They're doing certain things in their daily routines that make them be successful. Yeah. If you mirror what they're doing, you will get a similar result. It's like fucking baking a cake, isn't it? If you go to a chef and you get his ingredients and he says, put this in for that long, put that in, put that in, put that in. You do exactly what he says. You're going to get a similar result at the end if you followed his instructions. Common sense. Mm-hmm. So why the fuck would you go to somebody that hasn't done it?
But people are doing it. And
people talk shit.
Yeah, and people
at talking shit.
Put it this way: at the minute, our industry isn't policed. There's no governing bodies in place. Anybody really is getting away with doing one show and becoming a prep guru. You've got the social media so-called stars that have never fucking done any big show or anything, and all of a sudden they're giving advice on gear, and it's the wrong advice just to get views or just to earn a bit of money. Sooner or later, mark my fucking words, somebody is going to get ill, somebody is going to have a reaction, and somebody is going to die. Once that happens, and it makes the fucking media, the actual media, believe me, the government will put in fucking things in place, and it fucks the sport up for everybody.
There was a lad not long ago, young lad, junior, 20, 21 years old, did his first show. His so-called fucking prep coach put him on stupid amounts of diuretics, cut all his water. He competed.
Why do you need diuretics as a junior?
Why would you need them anyway? But this, obviously, this is exactly what we're talking about. Some dickhead who's probably done one show, he has no knowledge, no wisdom, become a fucking prep coach guru. Yeah. He's got this guy, he's dieted him, he's put him right down, give him all his diuretics, cut all his water out. He competed the following night. He proposed to his girlfriend on stage, died.
Wow. But it's going to be a case like that will make the media.
What happened
That
to
will
the
shine
prep
a bad
coach?
light.
What happened to the prep coach?
Probably fuck all.
Disappeared.
Yeah, of course.
Doesn't
want nothing to do. Yeah.
Wasn't nothing to do with me.
You've
Why
got
the
to be.
fuck should this be allowed?
You've got to be careful. But then the same as the making of gear, there's a lot of people out there that message me and say, Aarron, what's the bet? I mean, I can't reply to messages about steroids on my inbox for obvious reasons. I can talk about it on posts, I can talk about it on videos, but I'm not going to get into a conversation, or the admin is not going to get into a conversation. Best steroids to take. There is no fucking best steroids to take. You've got to do your own research and use yourself as a guinea pig, but be fucking sensible. But one question which I will sort of explain now, I get asked a lot, is what's the best brand? There's loads out there. There are loads of brands out there. There might be a brand out there that there's loads that I've never heard of. Doesn't necessarily mean that they're shit. They might be good. But what you've got to watch out for is the brands that what's on the label isn't what's in the bottle. But that isn't necessarily to say it's not a steroid. Now that may confuse you, but let me explain. A real shit brand that I can use as an example is Wildcat. Fucking cheap shit. Fucking it's quite a well-known one, made up north. They would use they would use the cheap raws to make something. So for argument's sake, to give you all an example, fast acting test is the cheapest test to make, right? Long acting test is more expensive. Trends, expensive, right? So when somebody says to you, I can get you any 10ml bottle for 15 quid, that immediately should be a red flag and alarm bell. It's impossible, because Trend costs more than that to make. But what Wildcat would end up doing is you would buy, let's say, a test propionate, a fast acting test is round about to the end user 25 quid, and a test 400 to an end user is round about 35 quid. Use those two as an example. So what somebody would end up doing is they would buy a test 400, spend 35 quid, and they would end up getting a good pump in the gym, and fucking, oh yeah, this gear's all right, you know, it's great, cause it's like a placebo thing. It is actually steroids that he's injecting, but what it is, it's test propionate that he's just injected with a test 400 labelling. The end user's never going to know. So you are actually injecting a steroid, but my point is you're not actually injecting what you've paid for. Now, that isn't actually going to affect me or you that badly, especially if we're not dieting for a show. It would make a difference if we were dieting for a show, and it would fuck up your prep. But where these companies are going to start hurting people is with women. So Anavar, to a certain extent, is actually quite safe for women to use and quite popular, as long as it's moderated and taken sensibly. But what they tend to do is, instead of using Anavar, because as we know, Anavar is an expensive raw, they end up using Debol. So the women end up having what we call irreversible effects. This is where men and women are different. Men, our effects can be reversed, right? But women, this is where you're changing your hormones. So that's where they're damaging women's lives. They're damaging people's lives. They do not give a fuck. So actually, it comes down to when I said, you find somebody that clearly has good results off of gear, clearly been in the game a long time, and is, yeah, they're earning money out of it, but they're sort of providing a service, as mad as that sounds, right? And they've got repeat customers. You know, everybody in the gym knows them. They're friendly. They're not the big I am. You build the trust, and they've got knowledge, you know, of bodybuilding in general. Because then people are going to be more knowledgeable about the gear that they're selling. They're either making it themselves or they're a reseller for a decent brand. That's where I would go, and that is the number one reason why you should never buy steroids online, because you do not know where it's coming from, the quality of the raw, or if it's that raw in particular that you're buying at all. You don't know, but you must be careful. And I mean, it was alleged that I had that one of the biggest underground steroid labs of all time, Chemical Solutions. I know Chemical Solutions, I know of them, and they were a great brand. In fact, they were the best, because they
didn't know who they
are. You did at the time, you just didn't know about it. But I am very knowledgeable in it, because I know how it's made and the process it takes in order to make that. when you learn about it, and then you've been in the industry as long as we have, and we've known manufacturers, we know the factories, we know the people, we also know who's the bullshitter and how does it for the money, and the people in the industry that do it for the benefit of the sport. Because it is a sport, at a high level, it is needed, that's a fact, and moderated, it is healthy when you're clever with it and you're smart with it. Unfortunately, it's the people that use too much of it, too much of the wrong stuff.
The abuse.
Yeah, and abuse it, that give it a bad name. But you must be careful with the brands. I mean, there are a lot of other fucking shit ones out there, but Wildcat is one that I would stay well away from, and one that I can use as a good example of being shit. But hopefully I've explained that well enough that you...
To add to that, my take on that, exactly what Aarron was saying about the Anavar and the D-ball. Yes, with a steroid is part anabolic, part androgenic. The anabolic part is what's going to grow your muscle. The androgenic part is what's going to give you side effects, such as sex drive, aggression, stuff like that. If you're taking a really strong steroid, so say like a sustanol or a strong test, it's very high androgenic and it's very high anabolic. So you're going to get great gains and big side effects. Something like an Anavar is nowhere near as anabolic, but it's anabolic, very little androgenic. So the side effects are minimum, and this is why women will take them. Something like a D-bol is quite high androgenic, so you're going to get the lots of side effects. So this is why it's so important for women to make sure that they get very low androgenic.
Anavar is a very good one as well, while you're on that specific drug for a beginner who's never took it to start on, because it's
safe, it's
weakest for side effects. Probably, well, it is the safest steroid to use. Plus, it's one of the best. A lot of people underrate it. It's weak. No, it's not weak. It was actually designed and put in production medically for, I'll get this correct, for AIDS victims, muscle deterioration diseases. So it actually makes muscle tissue. And it's a very good one.
The anabolic effects of it is going to happen without all the side effects, or very little. So basically, you hear all these stories about roid rage and this and that. I would take steroids and I don't feel anything. My sex drive will increase. I don't get angry. I'm not an angry person. I'm quite laid back. If I took massive amounts...
Bearing in mind, when I first met Dean, he'd just got his door badge suspended off him for battering somebody.
I said, I'm not angry!
Of course not.
So anyway,
wow.
Let's get that out of the system. Deep breath. So when you take far too many steroids, you're putting in massive amounts of the androgenic part. So no matter who you are, your aggression is going to increase. You will get a little bit more snappy. So if you're a really snappy, angry person anyway, and you're taking steroids, it's going to massively increase that effect. Yes.
But it's not going to make you lose control. And I want to clear that up. I don't believe that roid rage is an excuse for somebody's behaviour. When they say about roid rage, I don't believe it exists, and I don't believe that testosterone increasing your sex drive, which it does, is an excuse for people to fuck around and cheat on their missus. This is again the tight t-shirt wearing dickheads at the weekend giving us bodybuilders a bad name. Let me give you 2 examples quickly, and I've used this generally in court before. When I've hit somebody for doing something that offended me. I remember the prosecution saying about roid rage and steroids, and even my solicitors trying to use that as mitigation to try and help me get a lighter sentence. I remember saying in court, listen, I smacked him because he's a twat, put him in front of me, I'll hit him again. It ain't because I took an injection 45 minutes ago. There's a reason for it. If somebody says your mum's a cunt and you punch him, that was roid rage. Don't say the guy's mum's a cunt and you won't get a smack in the mouth. Same as these pathetic fucking specimen of weightlifters will take some testosterone, can't control the sex drive, end up cheating on their missus. Babe, I'm so sorry, but it was the steroids, I couldn't control it. Well, if the steroids have made your fucking sex drive increase, fuck your missus more. It didn't make you go and fucking fuck the next door neighbour, did it?
Exactly.
So there's going to be some bodybuilder that's literally just got away with it with his missus. He's sitting on the sofa watching this podcast. His missus has forgiven him, and he's like,
Oh yeah, I know.
It's true.
I know.
You're a
many of them.
scumbag.
Yeah, you are a fucking scumbag. If anyone out there cheated on their girlfriend, you're a fucking scumbag.
You are a scumbag, and don't blame it on the gear because I can control my dick. I can control my hands. You can go around my house and my unit. There's no holes in any walls. Is there any in your house?
Well, you said there was holes in the walls in the toilets when you was younger.
That was different. That was to suck cock to get testosterone into the body quicker.
Oh, that was your excuse. Yes. Your outlet. Okay.
So I heard, and I didn't do that.
When my sex drive gets high, I don't turn into a cheating fucking rat bag. I can't control my dick. I just go and have a fucking wank. I'm not going to go and cheat on my girlfriend because she means so much to me that I would never do anything. If I'm with somebody, I'm with her because I really want to be with that person. So I'm never going to do anything to risk losing that person. So no matter how fucking high my sex drive gets, that's still the same. My thought process is the same. So it's not going to make me do anything, is it?
As much as the shit that fucking he never did for me, one thing that my dad did do, he always explained to me, if you're going to break the law, that's cool, son, but be prepared for the consequences and be prepared to take them on the chin. And that's the same thing. If you're going to get into, if you're going to get into, if you're going to get into a fight, if someone's disrespected you, if you're going to go and deal with something or whatever you may do it. But don't start blaming it on the fucking steroids because so many people have done that. It's now fucking created. Yeah, this.
Everyone wants to blame something, but they can't take responsibility for their own actions.
So now, when we actually fucking, I don't know, we're in the family court fighting, or maybe we've ended up in a normal criminal court, or maybe we're doing something. We're now getting our physiques used against us without actual any offence taking place. It could happen. Yeah. He takes steroids. He has competed. He poses a potential risk before you've even fucking committed offence. Yeah. Well, as it happens, how about a guy that wants to make himself bigger, faster, stronger than the average man, who hasn't got a violent criminal record at all, and he does take steroids, he admits it, but he competes, who's a loving father? I would say, actually, he's more of a chance of protecting his children and family than putting them at risk. Give you an example. Look at all the shootings and mass murderers that have fucking just gone on a mad one in America, in schools or in shopping malls or cinemas. Name one that's a bodybuilder.
Exactly.
I don't know any. I know a lot of skinny guys that are doing it.
There's a couple.
I don't know any bodybuilders.
There's a couple, like that wrestler and Little Fox and the rest of it, supposedly killed their families and shit like that. So they blame straight away it's steroids.
Same as Roll Moat, who went on a mad one. Yeah. It weren't the fact that he got bullied and he just ended up snapping and there was other things involved. Because he trained and probably took a bit of D-bol. Yeah. It was roid rage monster goes on run with gun.
Who is the wrestler? You know the one I was talking about. Who? Chris Benoit. One of them anyway, he went on this fucking rampage and killed loads of people. Oh, it's because of steroids. But you look into his history, he had all this fucking mental history that the guy was fucked in the head. He was nearly as bad as you, psychiatrist and all the rest of it. He was on all these fucking 100 different fucking drugs. But because he took steroids, the media said it's the steroids that did it.
Well, we can explain this now, right? Because steroids has now become fashionable. There are far too many young kids, men's physique athletes, including bikini girls, that are taking steroids for the wrong reasons, too young when they don't need to. If it did turn you into complete fucking psychopath with roid rage that could not be controlled, then really, there's a lot of them walking around the fucking planet at the minute. Yeah, and there isn't, is there? Worrying. It's just skinny people that are fucking killing people. Yeah. It's like when people go, fucking all Muslims are terrorists. Actually, they're not. It's the terrorists that aren't fucking Muslims. And let's put things into perspective, because if all Muslims were that, there's a lot of them about. I'd rather be friends with them than start fucking pissing them off. You're just judging people. You're judging every Muslim, which is just wrong. Muslims are just people. They've got families. They hate these fucking people worse than we hate them. Bodybuilders are the same.
The same, innit? Exactly. When somebody takes gear, there's no problem. When somebody abuses it, they're going to get bad side effects. They're going to be like a dick.
Use the word extremist. An extremist is not a fucking Muslim. An extremist is not a bodybuilder.
Muslim, they're taking things into
and you've got extremist bodybuilders
and it's
too.
Giving the rest a bad name. Yeah. And the media pushes that out. Same as steroids, same as Muslims. Muslims are the fucking devil according to social media. Yeah. I have so many friends who are Muslim, and
That's a lie. 'Cause you've got no friends apart from me.
I pay a few people to pretend to be my friends, and they're Muslim, and they're some of the nicest.
So basically,
people.
you've just purposely gone and paid Muslim.
Well, I pay them, and I pay you to be my friend,
Right.
and you're still a cunt to me. They're nice to me. So they are actually really nice, genuine people.
Well, I took my after the Manchester attacks, the fucking horrific attacks. I did that post saying, can we at least keep the word Muslim and extremist out of the same fucking sentence for this day? Because there's some poor fucker that's going to go to work who's going to get bullied just because of his beliefs. Some wife that's scared, and they were. I had so many Muslims going, thank you for the videos, because I'm scared to walk down the street and all sorts. And I even said that I don't believe that Muslims eat babies and are these fucking monsters. In fact, I'll use my own kids as an example. If someone wants to invite me to a mosque, and they did, I went to the oldest mosque in London, the very first mosque in London, and I walked around there with my kids, and I'll tell you what, they provided us with fruit shoots and Jaffa cakes. There was no cupboards with hidden women or children in. There was just rooms with people praying. They even had little plants and honey little factories in there, and it was all educational stuff. There was no hate preaching. There was definitely no bomb making. There was no blueprints of nuclear devices on any walls.
It's funny,
it was
I've seen on the news. It wasn't.
It
like
was
that,
friendly. I even put my arm around a Muslim as well. It was, they're human.
Have you been to many Muslim countries?
Yes.
Whenever I've been to a Muslim country, I've never met friendlier people. They come out of nowhere just to see if you want help.
Yep.
And they drag you in the house. Do you want tea? Do you want food?
Yep.
They won't let me out their house until I have something.
Yeah.
I've never known anything like it.
Was that just because you were just on the rob?
They wouldn't let me out.
So
the
basically,
house.
you've gone to Muslim countries and burgled people's houses. That's literally just what you've said. You freaked about that much, made them scared of their own safety. They felt like they had to just feed you.
In my head, they wouldn't let me go until they give me something. Maybe it was different in reality, but that's what I remember.
Well, what we're trying to say is it's the fucking idiots that portray, that make people,
minute majority.
Yeah, that bring on the judgment, the stigma, so to speak. And it's exactly the same in bodybuilding. And I call them the tight t-shirt wearing dickheads at the weekend, the ones that train for the wrong reasons, inject for the wrong reasons, have that bigorexia that we call it, because they are that self-conscious.
Looking for shortcuts all the
yeah,
time.
and there is no fucking shortcuts. They think blowing themselves with oil and water and having this fucking horrendous, leaky, spotty physique is classes them as a bodybuilder, and it's not.
Behavior, really. It's insecurities and mental behavior in most cases. We want to go back to the Aarron D-Bowl side of things.
Yeah, we've sort of fucking gone straight onto nuclear weapons and fucking
for women
terrorism.
Like
just
you're saying,
escalated.
If a guy takes a wrong steroid, the worst side effects he's going to get is some water retention, some bitch tits. Gyno is not nice. You can get it cut out.
Yeah,
you're going to get bloated water retention, spotty, hormonal. Yeah, that's the worst. You come off, you're going to go back to.
That's also very likely, even if you take a small amount of steroids, but if you start taking them at the wrong age, this is why the later you leave it, the better it is for you. And it's going to mess around with the levels in your body. Your test's going to go through the roof. When you come off, you're going to get massive drops and really long-term abuse. You can mess up your fertility and all the rest of it. You can bring that back. There's been no scientific reports that anyone's completely fucked themselves and not been able to bring it back. For a woman, you think you're doing the right thing, you're taking Anavar, getting minimum effects, and you've got it off. You're listening to a prep guru that really doesn't know what he's talking about. He's giving you 50 milligram Anavar. He doesn't even care about your well-being, he just wants to fuck you. Pretty much. Yeah. So they're going to put you on loads of steroids to make your sex drive high, so they got a better chance. Yeah. But I see a lot of these girls, they said, oh, I took 50 milligram Anavar. Have you ever seen a real 50 milligram Anavar? I would guarantee you 60 to 80% of that tablet is D-bol or some other substance. Or even it's made up of fillers. So if you're taking a very low androgenic, you'll be okay. But if you took a massive amount of a low androgenic, you're going to get bad side effects. If you take a small amount of something like D-bol, the androgenic side is so high. For a woman,
you're gonna basically, it's like a boy going through puberty. The testosterone is what makes a boy into a man. So the androgenic side of it, that's what it creates. A woman will start to grow stubble, get a deeper voice box.
What that will start off with, it will feel like she's just getting a normal cold or a cough at first, which is why women need to be monitored, especially if they are taking correct antibiotics, because the slightest little change, that's when you stop.
They start getting a deep voice. You will start to grow stubble. On severe cases, your nose bone, jaw bone will start to enlarge like a man. Your clit will start to grow into like a little mini dick. And you basically, your body is turning into a man. Once that happens, it's not going to go back. No. You cannot reverse it. I mean, things like women, like with their clit swollen up.
That does happen when you do take the correct amount of gear, even when it's moderated. But that does go back to normal when you do come off the gear. So if you are a woman and you have done it correctly and your clit has got a bit bigger, don't start getting freaked out now, because that will go back down. That's just a common.
Severe, but it's like...
But we're talking severe
If it's swollen and it's really sensitive, that means that it is starting to grow. Same as a guy, if his nipples are sore and sensitive, gyno is starting to grow. That means you're either taking too much or you're too sensitive. So for guys, it's fine. You take some Novadex, Arimidex, and it's going to stop the aromatization. For a woman, it's very different. If you're a woman and you're taking steroids and you do not want these side effects, you need to know what you're getting is the right stuff and the right dosages. So you need to either get real, legit pharmaceutical grade, or you need to be going to people you can absolutely trust and know what they're doing.
We're going on to the pharmaceutical thing, as you're touching on that. People say, oh, this is okay. It's come from Egypt. It's come from Iran was another one. That was where, just because it's come from these set countries does not necessarily mean that it is legit. A lot of them have seen people coming over, seen them buy stuff, and that's where it's most counterfeited, and they sell it to the British fucking idiot who believes that it is pharmaceutical. We've been in this fucking game long enough.
Walk down the road in Egypt in the vest. You'll get stopped 50 times. If you want to buy steroid, you want to buy com.
Was that your fucking impression of an Egyptian? Because that was just racist.
That was just a guy talking to me in the street.
But what you can do is you can go to places like Mexico, where I remember I went in there into a chemist, and you can buy them from pharmacies. Mexico, you could buy them over the counter.
To me, Egypt, Turkey, all those places.
But you've got to be careful with them. In Mexico, it's more policed, less fake. In like Egypt, there is a lot more counterfeit. So goes back to what we said. You need to be able to trust the person, and the person you buy it off needs to know really what they're talking about.
A little tip: if you walk into any chemist, I mean, dodginess does go on. You go into a chemist in abroad, and it's completely legal to buy. Anything you see on the shelf, 9 times out of 10 is legit. If they say, "Oh, do you want this?" and they go out the back, they always, "Do you want Sustanol?" and they stop making that particular brand.
Again, why did your accent change then? What country are you trying to portray you in now?
No, somewhere European. They talk different to me.
You sound like Billy when we were in South Africa. When he starts speaking to a South African, he's like, "I want to go here." Billy, he speaks fucking English. He can understand you. You just sound retarded.
Do you know, this reminds me of a good story.
It's like the slower and louder you speak, they're going to understand you.
Randy, when we was in Brazil, and nobody speaks English in Brazil. So we go to a restaurant, we order steak and rice. The woman's talking different language. Steak and rice. She doesn't understand.
Oh, now he said it like that.
Steak and rice. Ran, she don't. Steak and rice! I said, doesn't matter how loud you say it, Ran. She doesn't understand what you're fucking saying. Learn their language. Don't be mad at her.
Billy just does it slower.
Into her language, into her country. I was like, fuck.
What language was you? What was you trying to impersonate a minute ago? What country?
I don't know. It was just a different person. I don't know Egyptian. I don't know Turkish. Fucking actually Egyptian. I heard him. Yalla, yalla, yalla.
This has gone racist.
That's not racist. I'm talking a language.
You know what yalla means?
It's the only word. I mean, it means come here, come. Oh. Not the kind of come you're used to in them fucking toilets with the holes. Come here. You want sustenance? I'm like, no, because you go out the back, I know it's fucking dodgy. If it's on the shelf, I'll buy it.
Just probably filled it up with olive oil.
There's your top tip. If you go into a chemist, buy it off the fucking shelf. If
Not
they
a
go out
market
the back,
stall.
do not touch it.
Yes.
It's fucking fake. Some of these, you can get the anabolic books and that now, can't you? They're really good.
That is how I learned.
They still come out.
Anabolic 2000. That's what it's actually called. Anabolic. It's written by somebody called Llewellyn.
Yeah.
And you got Anabolic 2005, 2006, 2000, and they bring out one every year.
Every year, and it updates you on what's real, what's not, and it shows you some of these.
I'd even stay off the internet because you're reading people's opinions.
Yeah.
I would stick with that book. It tells the year it was made, the side effects, what it was made for, the recommended dosage, how to spot fakes as well.
It shows some of these fakes are so good you wouldn't know. It's a tiny little thing on the box, but they will pinpoint it and tell you what is fake, what is real.
Yeah.
It's definitely worth getting one of these books.
Yeah.
And like you just said, that's a good point. You can get any information off the internet, but any dickhead can post it.
Stay off the forums.
Any dickhead can post it. So I listen to a lot of stuff on the internet, but I only take advice from people who are legit and have very good recommendations. So like Joe fucking Blog says this bullshit. I'm going to listen to it. If it doesn't sound logic, I won't take it on board.
Yeah. I think that's concluded
enough on steroids.
This week's podcast, and I think we've explained it well and in detail. Should we end it there?
Good enough for me.
Thanks for tuning in. We appreciate all of you taking the time to watch our podcast. Our YouTube has gone through the fucking roof recently, and we've spent a lot of money on a correct studio with the right equipment, and we are constantly making it better and coming up with ideas and options. And me and Dean have some projects lined up which we're not going to really talk about yet because we want to get them actually set up, and we're in the process of doing it now. We don't like talking about things that are just an idea. We'd like to get everything ready and then to say, right, next week we're starting this, this and this. But we'll be looking forward to the next podcast. We've got a few ideas of what the subjects are going to be, but we haven't decided what they're going to be yet. So I'm not going to tell you just yet. What we do know is the next one will be available next week, Billy. That's it. I hope it's been informative and I hope it's been helpful. Thank you. See you next week.